Despite ongoing macroeconomic issues, the renewable sector continues to be an interesting source for deal-making for both private equity and other investors operating in the infrastructure space. Joining us today is Peter Kneller, editor at InfraNews for the renewable sector. Peter, what do you think? What are the main opportunities that we'll be expecting over the coming year?
Well, first of all, you'd have to divide the market into two sectors. So you have greenfield development stage projects, which are yet to be built, and then you'd obviously have operational assets. On the operational assets side, it should be an interesting year. There are a number of European utilities that need to sell non-core assets, and these often can include renewable energy assets. So we might see some trading there, which will provide an opportunity for infrastructure funds and direct investors. You also have financial investors such as private equity groups who have already built up operational portfolios of assets, and they're now looking to realise those investments and sell the portfolios. So that'll be a source of deal flow for other investors.
Now, you mentioned private equity several times. I'm thinking, what's the story for the next 12 to 18 months? Will we see private equity continuing to make these investments, as I'm sure you would hope to see, or will there be new types of entrants coming into the market at the same time?
There are certainly a number of private equity funds still with capital to deploy in the market, and they'll be hoping to find deals. But one other interesting aspect to the market is that you're seeing increased investment from institutional investors going direct into those assets, whereas in the past you might have seen them go through a private equity fund. So you've seen over the last few years, Allianz, for example, or Munich Re, with an active direct investment program. And there are more institutional investors becoming increasingly comfortable with renewable energy as an investment opportunity. So you may start to see new entrants coming from the institutional arena. Okay.
Think about the infrastructure theme or the infrastructure sector generally speaking. It's always a story about greenfield, brownfield, but what's the story for the next year or so? Do you think there'll be more greenfield investments coming in, or will we see operational, maybe secondaries, tertiaries, or maybe even something capex driven, refinancing driven on the operational side?
In the past, greenfield has tended to looks to have offered more opportunities because of these attractive tariffs we were talking about, or other forms of incentives. As those are going down, and there's increasing uncertainty about what governments are prepared to do to incentivise those investments. There's starting to be more of a focus on operational assets that already have those tariffs in place, and they're seen as less risky. And as a result, we expect to see more operational assets starting to trade than investments into greenfield.
What segments, what sectors and maybe geographic markets would be interesting to consider in this context?
I would say Ireland seems to be attractive on the greenfield side for wind. There's good wind resource there. There seems to be potential for the building up of onshore portfolios there that will actually export the energy to the UK, although that's at its quite an early stage. And then you've seen private equity funds already in Sweden over the last 2 to 3 years. HG Capital has been there, Platina Partners as well, and you may well start to see more investors in Swedish onshore wind. They too have a good wind resource, but also the possibility of exporting energy to Germany.
And taking a step back on a more sort of general par, what other trends do you think will be pivotal this year?
One interesting recent development was a UK fund manager called Greencoat Capital. They've launched a listed vehicle on the London Stock Exchange through which they hope to buy they've set up the acquisition of a number of operational portfolios in the UK. This is relatively new, and if it succeeds, as should hopefully be the case, this could start to open up a much bigger pool of capital to investment in renewables coming from the retail sector, investing in those listed vehicles.
Right. Thanks very much, Peter, for coming in.
Thank you.